Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Rochester. For more than 150 years, ours has been a congregation of open minds and loving hearts, celebrating many sources of wisdom and many spiritual paths. Your faith, your doubts, your questions, your hopes for our world are welcome here. And our doors are closed because our hearts are open. You can stay connected online through a variety of small groups, and you can join us this Wednesday night for our weekly forum, which is a reread and conversation of the book Just Mercy, one of our common reads on racial justice this year. You can join us 6:30 online Wednesday night. Today, we are so glad to hear from two of our youth here at the church, Claire Nelson and Ani Bulbulian, both of whom will share reflections on our monthly theme of commitment, on what it is that's important in their life, what values they hold dear and close and act on during this historic year and where it might lead them. So thank you, Claire and Ani, for sharing your reflections today. And also a welcome and thank you to our guest musicians, the OK Factor, Olivia and Carla, for your music today. They joined us a while back here in person and will again in the near future, we hope very soon. But we are so grateful for your music today online. Today's offering will go to support our church, its mission, including our Human Needs Fund. You can give at our website at uurochmn.org/give, where you can also turn in your pledge if you haven't yet. Today's the day, the pledge drive-through, this spectacular event you don't want to miss this afternoon in the lower parking lot from noon to 1:30. You can come for special treats, greetings from friends to celebrate our shared commitment to this church. You can turn in your form there if you haven't yet. We would love to hear from all of you today as we hope to wrap up the pledge drive soon, either handing in a paper form or going online or contacting the office, in part to save time for the pledge team and our office staff for needing to follow up. And no matter what the amount, no matter what you're able to give to this church, we simply want to hear from you, a pledge of your heart to its well-being and to be able to plan for the coming year, to know what our budget will be. So please fill out the form, come get a gift bag. We'll have a special surprise and update in the coming days. Thank you for together tending the flame. Finally, in the words of the Reverend Eliza Tupper Wilkes, minister of this church in the 1870s, may our faith in humanity and our message of hope and good cheer light our way. It's good to be together.
This is the Unitarian Universalist Church. This is the church of the flaming chalice. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the loving heart, where friends come together and share.
Hello, First Unitarian Universalist. It's so good to be with you. We are coming to you from my basement. You may or may not hear some airplane noise. I live right by the airport. Nonetheless, we're so happy to be with you, even if it needs to be virtually. We hope you are all well, and we can't wait to see you again in person. But in the meantime, we're happy to share some music with you this morning. We're going to kick things off with an original tune of ours called Love Song for Lucy.
So this month we've been talking about commitment. And commitment can seem like a really big word. And where do we even start with something like that? Well, the easiest way for me to wrap my head around it is to realize that a commitment is really a promise that you make to yourself or to someone else. A promise that you will do a certain thing or help in a certain way, or even something that you will just start to think, a commitment to thinking differently. And that's the premise of our story today. I hope you enjoy it. I Promise, written by LeBron James, illustrated by Nina Mata. I promise to work hard and do what's right, to become a leader in the game of life. I promise to go to school and read as much as I can, to follow the rules and respect the game plan. I promise to run full court and show up each time, to get right back up and let my magic shine. I promise to be open and try new things and enjoy the happy that change can bring. I promise to wear a big smile and use kindness when I speak, to remain strong yet humble with every win and every defeat. I promise to ask for help whenever I may need it, to reach for my star even when I can't see it. I promise to ask questions. I promise to find answers. I believe in next time and in second chances. I promise to use my voice and stand up for what is right. And when things get tough, to keep up the good fight. I promise to stand tall rise up and give it all that I've got, to throw the alley-oop and uplift others on the spot. I promise to respect my elders and peers just the same, to leave new places better than they were when I came. I promise to stay true, keep my head up, and never give up, no matter what. I promise to dream big and love bigger, to be a team player and a winner. I promise to cross bridges and break down walls, to rise with the sun and to learn from the falls. I promise to be courageous, to be free, to strive for greatness. I promise to be me. See, it's not that hard. Just make a promise to make yourself better and to think better and to do better in the world. And that's all a commitment really is.
You. We are still physically separated, but we are seeing a light in the future as we look forward to being together again. For now, we continue to gather in this virtual way as we create a place of communal caring and connection. Be enriched by the virtual presence of each other and draw yourself closer into the heart of love at this time of service and reflection. In this time together, we ask that our minds be open, our hearts welcoming, and our arms embracing. Here we honor all who support us in this caring, loving, and all-inclusive ministry. We send gratitude to John and Sandy McLaughlin, serving as our caring coordinators, arranging care for our members and friends in need. The members of our caring committee are wonderful examples of our compassionate community, holding us up as we go through challenging and happy times. And during this time of increasing needs in our lives and community, we encourage you to reach out for support and help if you are experiencing challenges. Many of us may need additional care, whether it be personal pastoral care, grocery delivery, or an errand run. And we encourage you to reach out to Reverend Luke or myself with that request. We thank all of you who have served our congregation in this way over the last few months. Today's flowers are shared by Kathy Sheppel and Joe Mish in memory of Kathy's father, Ed Sheppel, who passed away 15 years ago this past week. In this community, we make time each week to share pieces of our lives with one another. We do this because each person here has value. Each person's experience matters. We lift up those whose lives are touched by sadness, by illness, by worry, or by loneliness. We revel in those who are celebrating joy in their lives. May their happiness lift us all. May all of us find comfort, hope, joy, and healing strength in this community. We celebrate with all of you who have breathed a sigh of relief as you receive the call that there is a COVID vaccine appointment ready for you. Those who have not yet been called and are waiting, we send patience your way. Please keep Kathy Hufftailing in your thoughts this week as she will be undergoing an abdominal surgery on Thursday, March 25th. We hope for a safe surgery, and Kathy will have a 6-week recovery time and then looks forward to being able to get out and about because she's been fully vaccinated. Kathy would love cards of support and well wishes as she heals. As we round this corner of uncertainty, we make the commitment to focus on reaching out to all of those around us to let them know we are still here and still holding and supporting them. Cards and phone calls and socially distanced visits can help to lift up those you love, and we encourage you all to support our community and local businesses as they safely reopen. May the faith and the spirit of life, love for the community of earth, and love for the light in each other be ours now and in all the days to come.
I invite you to take a deep breath. Breathe deep the breath of life. Feel below you the earth in its ancient turning, above you the sky and the stars shining with ancient light, holding you in this moment, this breath, right here, right now. I invite you into this time of meditation, this time of prayer here in this house and this community of love and justice, hope and grace, first by sharing silence together. Spirit of life, source of love, God of 1,000 names and beyond all naming, these tender days, somewhere between grief and hope, somewhere between spring and winter, between weariness and gladness, sometimes the both and of everything feels like whiplash, much more than balance. May we find in these moments some help, some brief glimpses where the soul can find balance, simple things in our daily routine, like the warmth of tea or coffee in our hand, like a sacrament to start the day, or the way the sun shines through the sheets of clouds and shadow and light seem to dance in the season as it turns. May these tender days help us remember what matters most to us, where we commit our hearts to the remaking of the world. And in those hearts this day, we hold all those who suffer in mind, in body or spirit, and invite you to bring the names you're holding in your own heart this day, in joy or in sorrow, celebration or concern, and silently or aloud now in this time to speak their names. For all those names, spoken and unspoken, may we be forever grateful, and may we all be held in love. These words of meditation are from Tayana Winder, entitled Being. Wake up, greet the sun, and pray. Burn cedar, sweetgrass, and sage, sacred herbs to honor the lives we've been given. for we have been gifted these days since the beginning of time. Remember, when you step into the arena of your life, think about those who are beside you, next to, and with you. Your ancestors are always in your corner, along with your people. When we enter this world, we are born hungry. Our spirits long for us to live out our traditions that have been passed down for generations. Prayer, ceremony, dance, language are ways of being. Never forget you were put on this earth for a reason. Honor your ancestors. Be a good relative. For these words of indigenous wisdom and hope and beauty and remembrance, may we be grateful. Amen.
When I was tasked with crafting a reflection on something I'm committed to, initially I was overwhelmed. Commitment, seeming to me to be such a big thing, threw me for a loop, as nothing I did seemed quite right to represent the idea. After thinking about it for a while, I was able to see that I have a deep commitment to feminism. I have been a proud feminist since 5th grade, if not before. I am certain my first exposure to the idea of inequality on the basis of gender happened when I was very young and probably didn't even notice. Knowing what I know now, I recognize this comes from the neglect of women's rights issues our patriarchal society has instilled in our brains. It is a big concept, but it is still apparent, even at a young age. So maybe I didn't have the words to describe feminism, but I still knew something was going on. Put simply, feminism is the belief in capital A advocacy for the fact that men, women, and really all people, regardless of gender, should be treated and respected as equals. It is the belief in changing gender roles and the societal expectations ingrained into our world to help make our society accepting and equal. Drawing upon my own experiences and hearing from many more girls my age, I began to notice these expectations of boys and girls were, and still can be, vastly different. From these instances, I realized that I was a feminist. And you may be asking, why did you proclaim yourself a feminist at such a young age? Maybe it was because of one moment in 5th grade when my class lost our kickball game and the boys in my class turned around and blamed girls for the loss because girls are bad at sports. Or when my uncle assumed my mom's tattoo with pink and blue hearts was for my brother being blue and me being pink when it was in fact the other way around. Or when I heard teenage girls, including myself, being ridiculed for screaming their lungs out at a concert or being obsessed with a boy band when grown men can throw a fit over the result of a football game. Or when I first heard the phrase, boys will be boys, deeming gender as an excuse for bad behavior. Maybe it was when I was watching award shows with my mom, surrounding these shows of glitz and glamour were conversations about directors abusing their female employees, introducing the Time's Up and Me Too movements, which brought to light the harsh reality of the world around us and put the spotlight on these horrific abuses of power and misogyny. Or in 2016, when Hillary Clinton, so close to being the first female president, was seen as unfit to serve in that capacity, not because she wasn't qualified, but because she was a woman. All of this while her opponent had more sexual assault allegations than I can count on both of my hands, no experience in government, and made degrading comments about women, including the one he was opposing. Or the fact that when Kamala Harris was elected the first female vice president of the United States, I cried because part of me and many other women never thought we would see the day come. Even in recent weeks, the spike in awareness for change and an end for violence against women after the murder of Sarah Everard at the hands of a police officer, or through my exposure to true crime, in which I learned hundreds of women, especially women of color and Indigenous women, go missing every day without barely a blink of an eye. From these events and many more, I began to realize the inequality still formed in our society today and it needed to be changed. To be cliche, the dictionary defines commitment as the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity. I had decided that I was going to make a commitment to being a feminist, for it was a cause I was willing to fight for and dedicate my energy to. So I began to research and emphasize women's history in nearly everything that I did, from History Day projects on historic events and figures such as Ruby Bridges, the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, and women's Air Force service pilots, to materials centered around feminism and sexism in society today. I have just barely begun to scratch the surface of the issues and accomplishments revolving around feminism and what still needs to be done. As I have continued, politics have become a greater area of interest as I watch the rights of women, people of color, and LGBTQ+ people get stripped away and built up again. I continue to learn about the importance of intersectionality in feminism, as white women aren't the only people who are facing inequality. Women of color face issues that also need to be advocated for, if not more. This is just part of the unified advocacy needed on all sides in order to combat and correct issues of inequality and hate directed against any marginalized group. With this, I also learned that commitment involves more than first meets the eye. Dedication and commitment comes in many forms, including education, spreading awareness, and listening to others in order to improve upon our commitments and grow through our dedications. Through years of learning about the topic that is feminism, I have grown and shaped ever-evolving opinions as my dedication has grown and as my goals change with my views. I have also learned that it doesn't matter what we proclaim our accomplishments to be if we aren't active in improving and fulfilling our commitments to the fullest extent of our goals. These elements of commitment will always be prominent in feminism, a constant long-term battle. But it is always important to remember that with commitment comes persistence, and sometimes the small reminder of why we committed to it in the first place.
When I was asked to reflect on the commitments I have made, I realized that many of them come from this year, but all of them have a deeper connection of committing to the vulnerable. My senior year in high school has been like no other, and I've had a lot of extra time on my hands. I've gotten involved and committed myself to 8 different groups, some of which are Mayo High School groups that commit to serving the community, serving the environment, and or serving students that don't have the same opportunities that most of us have. Some of the Mayo volunteer groups include the SOS Club, Mayo Honor Society, Mayo Key Club, and Mayo's Environmental Club. Other groups I'm involved in are outside groups, such as the Mayor's Youth Council and Living Room Tutors. But in my opinion, the most important commitments I have made this year are to the environment and people who are food insecure through Revolutionary Earth, and to my elderly neighbors who have been lonely and isolated during COVID times. I've realized that I have COVID to thank for a lot of these commitments and opportunities. My involvement and deepened commitment did not happen overnight. It grew as I became more involved and invested in who and what I was helping. COVID led me in these directions because I couldn't do my usual job, which was to teach tennis and work inside with children. So I thought that gardening for people outside would be a safer summer job. My contact information spread by word of mouth, and before I knew it, I was working for 15 different people, 2 of them being my elderly neighbors. One of my elderly neighbors, who is a 90-year-old widow, called me one day and asked me to help her in her garden. As I've gotten to know her, I have seen her loneliness and pain, because she really misses her out-of-state family and the social activities she used to have, which is how I realized just how important I am to her. Her face lights up and she gets so excited when I call her and tell her I'm on my way. Before I even start working for her, we spend 20 minutes just talking and laughing about whatever is on her mind and catching up together. I have realized how my time with her means so much to her, and now she always calls me her angel. Another one of my elderly neighbors that I've been working for, probably in her 80s, seems to get very anxious and worries how she'll get things done that she can't do alone. Because she seems so anxious, I would respond to her immediately, even if it weren't the most convenient time in my schedule. She has told me over and over again that being able to call me and have me come right away has really saved and comforted her. Because of these experiences with my elderly neighbors, I have realized just how important my time is to this vulnerable population. They feel that I give them a lot, but I also wonder if they know how much they give to me. Their friendship, caregiving, and kindness towards me has really nurtured my soul. I called my 90-year-old neighbor the other day, and I realized that the whole time we were on the phone, I was smiling and my heart lit up while being engaged with her. I also get so excited to see her and share her joy and love of her garden. She even shared her tears with me when she had to have her old maple tree cut down. I have learned to appreciate, love, and respect nature from her, and not see it as just a thing getting cut down. Her ability to love and spread positivity is truly special. COVID also inadvertently led me to Revolutionary Earth. Because of my extra free time, I have spent more hours volunteering. Gus Braga told me about Revolutionary Earth. I volunteered one time, and I realized immediately that I wanted to commit more to this organization. For those of you who do not know what Revolutionary Earth is, it's a local nonprofit organization that is made up of 100% volunteers who help convert residential lawns into produce-filled organic gardens. All of the produce that is harvested is given to members of the food insecure population in Rochester within 24 hours. The use of the lawns in this way not only helps the food insecure population, but it's less damaging to the earth. A few of the environmental takeaways from doing this are that there are absolutely no chemicals or herbicides, the roots are deeper and the water is more sustainable, there is less use of gas-fueled lawnmowers and leaf blowers, and there is also no tilling in order to not disrupt the ecosystem in the soil. I am so committed to the values of this organization that when Christopher Brenna, the founder, asked me to be on the board of directors, I was absolutely thrilled. I lead a volunteer group that is in charge of recruiting and organizing volunteers who want to help our organization. To volunteer for Revolutionary Earth, you can go to our website at revolutionaryearth.org or let me know if you have any questions. These commitments to the vulnerable have opened my eyes to the possibility of making a change in our community, and to making a change, even if it's just a small one, to the entire world. I am so invested in my commitments that I have noticed that when you believe in something and put your whole heart into it and want to make a change, it makes it easier to put in all the hard work and hours. I believe that everyone can make a change and help the vulnerable, whether it's your elderly neighbors or the environment and the food insecure, no matter how old you are. Every time I go out to volunteer, I know that I am greeted with kindness and care. It nurtures my soul to know that I am getting volunteers to join our movement and help spread kindness and improve our community. And of course, I will always continue to practice and perform my magic tricks for the next UU variety show that I am definitely committed to. Thank you.
For the fire of commitment, for giving our hearts to the things we care for most, knowing that it's not easy, knowing we have much to learn. For this faith, and for its wisdom of all ages, may we be grateful and move forward from gratitude to giving to love. Amen.